Disclaimer. This story is a fictional reconstruction based on real geothermal field data and psychological patterns reported during high-stress subterranean engineering operations. While the names and locations have been altered, the mechanisms and effects described are rooted in known scientific phenomena. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Tales of Dark Echoes, where all the shadows have stories to tell. If you're drawn to what's buried, hit follow, tap the bell, and share this with someone who trusts the ground too much. My name is Darius Eno, Field Systems Engineer, contracted by Geothermal Corp to help build the first closed-loop geothermal grid in the Zavala Highlands, Calidara. I kept a personal audio log for insurance. This is what they'll never release. It began with a hum, the first tremor. We were 10 days into Phase 2 drilling when we hit a cavity. It shouldn't have been there. The thermal maps were clean, no anomalies, no seismic stress, but the drill sank. I watched it drop on the monitor, 6 meters in freefall. And then, everything stopped. We thought it was a magma pocket. There was no heat spike. In fact, the chamber was colder. I sent in a drone. It failed at 80 meters, so I volunteered to rappel. The descent. I was the only one small enough to fit the shaft and dumb enough to go in. The first 50 meters were uneventful. Solid basalt. Then the walls started changing. Not in texture, in pattern. At 72 meters, I saw it. A mark in the stone, not carved, not eroded, like the rock had formed around something once alive. It looked like an eye, closed. I radioed up. Static. Nothing but static. And that hum, it came back. Not just sound, it was pressure. Like the rock was remembering something. The chamber. I reached the cavity. My body cam shorted out instantly, but I still had audio. The space was wrong. It echoed before I made sound. The air tasted like rust and ozone. I could see my breath, but it wasn't cold. It was remembering cold. Then I heard footsteps behind me, but no one else had come down. I turned, and there was no one. Just the wall, and the eye was open. I climbed out in under 4 minutes. I shouldn't have made it. The rope burned through my gloves, but I didn't stop. That should have been the end, but it was only the beginning. The residue. After the incident, I tried to leave. They wouldn't let me. Medical observation, they said. Protocol. But I wasn't sick. I was marked. My skin looked normal under the sun. But in the dark, I glowed faintly blue. The veins in my arms would flicker, rhythmically, like I was sinking with something beneath us. I stopped sleeping. My dreams weren't mine anymore. I'd wake up with dirt under my nails, mud in my teeth. Echo signals. I started recording the pulses, just to prove to myself I wasn't losing it. But when I ran the waveform through a spectrogram, it formed shapes. Not random, not seismic, symbols. One matched an ancient Calidaran sigil for mouth. Another, memory. I showed it to a linguistics advisor. She disappeared the next day. That night I got a call from a number with no origin. A voice, familiar. It was mine, but older, hoarse, worn. It said only one thing. Don't speak it. It hears names. The hidden shaft. I hacked into old blueprints. There was a second borehole, never drilled, just marked hold echo pressure. No notes, no logs, no approval. But thermal scans showed a heat bloom there. And something else. A cavity. Hollow, breathing in sync with mine. Descent 2. Forbidden depths. I went down alone again. No suit. No support team. It welcomed me. The rock was softer here, slick, warm. I swear, I felt it flex as I moved. At 400 meters, I found it. A stone wall, not natural, carved. The symbols from the spectrogram were etched into it, glowing faintly, and in the center, a circular hole. Not drilled, not blasted, grown. I leaned in. I saw nothing, but I felt memory. I saw workers years ago, a team that was never reported. I saw them whispering, falling apart, feeding the shaft with themselves, and one final vision, me standing at the edge. Only, I wasn't alone. The echo entity. Something climbed up behind me, not with feet, with sound, a shape made of vibration, human, pressure. It whispered, "You are remembered." Then I heard dozens of other voices, voices from the camp, from the village, from the people we thought had disappeared, all of them repeating one phrase, "Become pressure." I woke up back in my quarters, alone, undocumented. No one remembers me leaving, but I'm changing. I don't sleep. I don't eat. I hum constantly. I didn't notice until someone pointed it out. The ground beneath Calidara is no longer stable. Not geologically, psychically. They say memory is stored in the brain. But what if the earth remembers too? What if every drill, every cut, every name we speak underground feeds it? I tried to leave the site for good, made it halfway across the highlands before I blacked out. When I woke, I was back in my bunk. No tracks in the snow, no fuel missing. It was like I had never left. But something had followed me. The hum wasn't just in my head anymore. It was in the equipment. My watch vibrated with no power. My tablet displayed messages I hadn't typed. Each one the same phrase. Echo binds. I hijacked a backup radio dish, tuned it manually. There was a frequency just beneath human hearing, 17.4 hertz. Infrasound, usually harmless, except this one carried voices. I boosted the signal, and what I heard, they were names of the workers who had gone missing over the past decade, voices trapped in a seismic pattern, and mine was the last name on the loop. Then the radio caught fire. I began seeing them around camp. Not directly, reflections, peripherals, workers who were gone, standing still in dark corners, unmoving, eyes unfocused. I cornered one near the compressor unit. He turned. No pupils, no breath. He opened his mouth and that hum came out. Not air, not sound, but depth. He whispered, "You're making more of us." Then he crumbled like ash under pressure. The control room began locking me out. Every thermal scan showed movement now, not just heat, pulse. A shape beneath the surface, slowly expanding. I triggered an emergency core reading. The system returned one word: remembered. Then every light turned red. We hadn't hit a geothermal pocket. We had pierced a memory vein, and it was bleeding. I found the relay station 2 kilometers north of the camp, buried in frost and dust, wrapped in caution tape that had long since faded to gray. It wasn't on any of our blueprints. Inside, there was only one console still blinking, ancient, analog, humming faintly with a soft golden light. A reel-to-reel recorder, still running. I pressed play. What came through wasn't static. It was a voice. Mine. But not from any log I've ever made. It was older, trembling. "If you're hearing this, you are inside it now." I tried to shut it down, but the tape looped endlessly. Each pass distorted the message more, bending pitch, echoing the syllables back on themselves until they became names. The names of the original engineering team and every person who's vanished since. I traced the cables. They didn't run to power. They ran straight into the ground, pulsing, feeding upward. Back at the camp, the drills had restarted themselves. No one was manning them. No one had authorized the reactivation. And yet, the controls were locked. Running a new program, ECHOREPLICATIONV01. Screens displayed seismic pressure models, each one shaped like a human spine. The geothermal plant wasn't harnessing energy, it was transmitting resonance. And every worker on site, we were part of the signal chain. I confronted the site director, but she wasn't real. Her skin flickered like a projection. Her voice glitched between tones. She looked at me, or through me, and said, "Your body is a tuning fork." Then she shattered into dust that smelled of hot copper and rain. Sirens sounded, a red alert. Subdermal harmonic breach detected. My skin rippled. The hum was no longer around me. It was inside me. I was the breach. I don't remember walking back to the array, but somehow I'm here. The sky above the Calidara zone is wrong. It shifts like a slow ripple in a pond, as if something underneath is moving and the air itself is reflecting it. I'm standing in the center of the broadcast dish. It's no longer silent. The signal is back, but this time, it's not receiving, it's transmitting. My voice, my thoughts, my memories being pulled from me in pulses, and I can feel someone or something listening. I try to scream. No sound came out. Instead, the hum grew louder, more intricate, like overlapping songs, each one made of someone's last words. My hands moved on their own. They typed a message into the console. Memory equals signal. Then, "You are archived." I unplugged the power supply. Nothing changed. The dish didn't need power anymore. It had me. I wandered through camp, every workstation, every bunk, empty. But on the walls, shadows, cast by nothing, burned into surfaces like thermal echoes frozen in time. When I passed one, it followed me. Not physically, it whispered. Not words. Thoughts I'd never had, or maybe ones I'd forgotten. It said, "You are not the first." I finally reached the edge of the zone. The forest beyond looked normal, quiet, still. I stepped over the threshold and woke up. Back in the dish, same sky, same silence. I've done this 32 times now, maybe more. Each time I lose a little more of myself, but I gain more of them. The earth isn't a grave, it's a mouth, and we drilled into its tongue. This is my final message, my real one. Not the echoes, not the loops, not the broadcasts, just me. If you're hearing this, destroy the archive, burn the station, bury the schematics, forget my name, because if you remember me, the signal starts again. From Tales of Dark Echoes. You've been listening to Tales of Dark Echoes, where all the shadows have stories to tell. Want more stories like the heat beneath? Follow for new horrors, leave a review, and tell us, what would your memory sound like if it was trapped underground forever?